Well, 9 days to go. If they don't figure this one out, the federal government will shut down. Disaster or good news? Illinois Congressman Joe Walsh joins us. Good evening, sir. And if the government does go belly up and shut down, is that a bad thing, or is that a good thing, or indifferent thing?
You know, Greta, I think, and again, I credit John Boehner and the Republican leadership a lot here. We do not want a shutdown. But I've got to tell you, it's like we're the only game in town. The president has been AWOL in these talks. The Senate Democrats don't even have a proposal on the table. We've been negotiating with ourselves. Nobody wants a shutdown, but I'll tell you, go ahead, Greta.
Go ahead. Now, is it good, bad, or indifferent?
Well, I think here's what I think. I think the American people are way ahead of the politicians on this. They understand how serious this fiscal crisis is. Might it be a good thing? Hopefully it won't happen, but who knows? Maybe America needs to be jolted a little bit. And again, I think the American people are ready for this.
Well, explain something to me. Assume that the government does shut down on April 8th. It doesn't shut completely down, as I understand it. There will still be essential services. Is that right?
Absolutely. There'll still be essential services. Very non-essential services will begin to be eliminated over the course of time. But Greta, again,
who gets to make that determination of the reason I'm asking is that, as I've heard, is that the determination of what's essential or not essential is made by the White House. Is that right?
Yeah, I believe that would be made by the executive branch. But
so the executive branch is really in the catbird seat on it if there's a shutdown, because if they determine what's essential, what's not, they're going to push you guys right up against the wall.
Now, but here's what I know, and this is why I'm so confident. I firmly believe that these House Republicans have the American people with us. They understand how serious this thing is. I've been very clear, Greta, that the President of the United States should be ashamed of himself, because he isn't even participating in the seriousness of these talks. I think the Democrats have lost the substance of this argument. You heard Charles Schumer, I think it was yesterday, didn't know he was being taped.
Howard Dean made a statement, as I quoted last night, which he was totally using this as a political ball. But you say the president's not engaged. Isn't Vice President Biden, hasn't he been dispatched to work on the Hill, and also the chief of staff at the White House? So, I mean, are they not haven't they been there working on the budget? Obviously, they haven't gotten any place, but working on it?
No, not at all. Vice President Biden said he'd be involved, and then the next day he flew out of the country. Look, I've been saying for a few weeks that the Democrats' only card here is to shut down the government. They have lost the substance of this argument, that all they want to do is try to make the Republicans look like the bad guys. The only way they can do that is to shut down the government, and what Howard Dean said and what Charles Schumer said only reinforced that.
It's funny, I get a lot of emails from viewers, and a lot of the viewers are not so worried if the federal government does shut down. They're not pretty happy with the federal government as it is. I mean, I suppose that as we move on and the lines get a little longer at the airports for TSA and things like that, we're going to get a lot unhappier. But the American people, a lot of them email me, are very unhappy about it, about this.
Greta, I held 3 town halls last week. We had 200 people at each town hall, and I can tell you that the vast majority of the folks said, don't go soft. Stay strong. We sent you there to cut spending and grow this economy. I think they're ahead of the politicians on this. They know how serious this crisis is. And I think the Democrats, at the end of the day, in the next week or so, are going to be dragged along. But again, I just have to go ahead.
I guess that I think about how serious it is if there's a shutdown or not depends on what's essential and what's not essential in terms of what's cut out. And that determination is made by the executive branch, by the White House. So I don't even know if we know, what the ramifications of a shutdown would be or will be if there is one.
We don't, but I mean, I think there are some fairly clear guidelines that he has to follow. I just wish, Greta, I wish he'd get involved. This is really a crisis. And
why isn't he? And if he's not involved, why do you think he's not involved?
Because I truly believe he would like the government to shut down, because it's the only way he can turn this back in his favor. The American people, Greta, made a clear statement in November. I mean, that's why I'm sitting here talking to you. They want government cut, and they want the private economy grown. He understands that. He's lost that argument.
All right, well, we'll be watching. We got only about 9 more days, so we'll find out. Congressman, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Greta.
Here's a look at what's coming up after this show.